Welcome to the Kat Mak Talk Show, where women turn their stories into visibility, authority, and success. Hey there, I'm Kat Mak, and each week we share real conversations that will inspire you to rise. Be seen and create impact. Why? Because you are saying yes to yourself, and your story matters. And welcome to another episode. Today's conversation is going to be really, really interesting because it's for that woman that has been in survival mode forever and a day and doesn't know how to get out of it and knows that there's more for her. If this resonates with you, because it did for me for a very long time, then this episode's going to be for you because I have Jessica Lauren with me. Hey there, I'm Kat Mak, where I share your voice because it's your power. With your power, you build your legacy. Now, Jessica has a very, very interesting story. She is the CEO of Embrace Who You Are. But it didn't just come from, I just was going to be born one day and go, I'm just going to start up a company called Embrace Who You Are and just be fabulous throughout the whole wide world. That's not how it happened. Jessica has a story and has created a movement where she shares your voice, helps you with your nervous system, helps you with your body, also is into so many holistic things that I'd love you to talk about too, from nearly losing her life in a very, very, very bad abusive relationship. But you got your power back. You got it back. You survived. You're sitting here telling us the story. So I ask you this, what happened back then in a nutshell that said, you know what, no more? And Jessica, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you.
Wow, thank you so much for having me, Kat. Super excited to connect and share my story. So honored. So, wow, what had me, you know, wow, it feels like a lifetime ago, that part of my life, where that version of me, the girl that stayed, I was in my early 20s, that stayed in a really abusive relationship for about 4 years, but it was really the last 2 years that became really detrimental to my wealth, my health, my well-being, and ultimately my life. I ended up in the hospital, at 24 or almost 24, like, nearly dead with those ribs that I was telling you that I broke.
Wow.
How those ribs got broken. I almost all my ribs on the left side of my body were broken. My face was unrecognizable, and when I got to the hospital, I actually didn't wanna go to the hospital, and my friend begged me to go, and when I got there, the doctor said, because I didn't want anything to happen to this, I won't even call him a man, I'll call him a boy, because a lot of men are actually just really lost boys who have been abused, who've been neglected, and have never actually done the work to come to a space of healing. And so that's kind of how I ended up there. And the doctor said I would have ended up dead hours later if I hadn't, because my lung was 60% collapsed. And so it honestly took me almost dying to leave that situation, which is why I have such a heart for women who've been through neglect and abuse and relationships with narcissists. It's like you lose all of yourself, like your mental clarity or love for anything outside of this person. Like, I felt like I couldn't exist without this person. And so it's been an interesting long journey. That was like 15 years ago at this point. And so it's been a it's been a wild unraveling of really self-love, really having higher standards. And even then, I will say, I've never let a physically abusive man back into my life again. However, I've had relationships with men that, are varying different levels of neglect and abuse. And so it's kind of like each each chapter has up leveled my life, and it's always like a new journey of self-love.
So there's women out there that are experience this, and sometimes they don't actually know what is. And I know I'm totally changing the conversation now because I know what you teach and how you help women is to reclaim their body, because you reclaimed yours. Because had you not gone to the hospital, you wouldn't be here telling your story and helping others that are going through the same thing. What is one trigger that you said no more? And I know you were physically unwell, but you knew that beforehand. What would be one thing that you would say to a woman to go, hey, Run, girlfriend, run.
Well, but before I would have said, it's physical abuse, but my standard, my bar is so high now that I don't really I don't even know if I'll ever live with a man again because my standards are so high. I love my alone time and my space. But for me, it's when somebody doesn't truly see you, like truly see you. I saw a meme the other day about how women have been conditioned to believe that romantic love is the greatest love that there is, when really, if you look at the deepest love in your life, it's usually your friendships with women. And so if I reflect on like my deepest relationship with my best friend and the relationships I've had with men and how they show up for me, I mean, to me, that right there, you could look at your closest friendship and you could look at a relationship with a man. And my biggest question to you is, does he meet you in the same way? Would he show up for you in the same way? And that to me is my biggest indicator of whether or not I should stay or I should go in a relationship.
That's so true.
Yeah. So,
I was listening to I think it was Jay Shetty this morning, and he was talking about relationships. It's not just necessarily love. It's not just I love you. It's you shouldn't stay with a person because you love them. You should stay with a person because there's empathy, there's communication, there's all the stuff that you need to work through together. Because if you're staying with a person because of love, it's just not going to work out. And I'm like, that's so true.
and really, the highest form of love is not about your own self referential experience with a person. It's about being invested in someone's spiritual growth. To me, that is the deepest form of love. I don't find that most of us are most people I come across in relationship aren't in those kind of relationships. They're in a relationship based on how that person makes them
And
feel.
feels, I know. And then you distance yourself from that when you've left the relationship and you're like, man, why did I stay there for so long? Right? Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I reflect back and I see that girl, that wounded girl who, I grew up in a very Christian home and I was hit as a child. And so for me, staying in an abusive relationship was familiar to me because I was taught that my parents would tell me they loved me before they hit me. That's a very Christian. I mean, I don't know a lot of people who do that anymore, although I'm sure that there are. I don't personally know any people who treat their children like that anymore. And I have deep
Before.
forgiveness and also gratitude for my experiences because it's led me to be the woman and the mother that I am today. So I wouldn't change any of it, but I can also understand that that is where this sort of clinging to this very abusive relationship took me, was because as a child, I was comfortable with abuse because that's what was taught to me.
So many women are disconnected from their bodies, and I know you teach a lot of getting your power back, getting it and fixing your nervous system, which is something that is on everyone's tongue these days. I think for the purely for the reason that we've neglected our gut. So if there's women out there that are disconnected from their bodies and they don't realize that, what are the signs and how do you think it affects their life and their business?
Well, I think it often starts for a lot of women, it's like the overgiving. So many women become disconnected from their own desires and their own needs because they're constantly overgiving to others. And there's nothing wrong with giving. I think mothers, yes, we are the nurturers of life. And also, we can become sort of these self sacrificial objects for the rest of everyone else around us. And truly, I work with my own nervous system, which I have lovingly changed that I call it the sensory guidance system because I'm like,
Love that.
why are we calling this system nervous? Because it's making all of us nervous just
Nervous
thinking.
thinking about that. Okay, can you say that again? I'm writing that down.
Yeah,
Say it again.
sensory guidance system. Because you're
Sensory guidance system.
Yeah, because your system, your body, your system of feeling is always giving you messages. And somehow, though, through the hustle and bustle of life and technology and so much information, so many of us have become disconnected from the signals, from the messages in our body. And that is how they emerge through disease and all these things, because we haven't been paying attention to our bodies and the messages it's been giving for so long. And an abusive relationship. And then I became a mother in, let's see, 2020. My son is 5.5 now. And so I became a mother at 35. Yeah, almost 36. I became a mother. And I went through really extreme postpartum depression because I raised my son mostly alone. His father was always traveling and we never lived together. He had a separate life with another child, and that's a whole nother chapter of my life. I entered a relationship with a polyamorous man and I was open to it. And so I've experienced the gamut of like so many different wild experiences. And I feel like I've been given the gift of all these experiences so that I can relate to a lot of different types of people and also just share my experience. And so I had a really intense time in my first 3-4 years as a mother. And so I know a lot about feeling disconnected from your body and also just kind of either being completely disconnected and or just wanting to disappear. Not like, I'm going to end my life, but just wanting to disappear. And I talk to so many women who kind of just feel that empty space in themselves because they feel so disconnected from their desires and from their body.
So, how do you help women get their body back?
Well, I would say first and foremost, it's definitely about reconnecting with your womb. I think more than which just your body is one thing, but like women have wombs and we have like never even been taught about
No,
it is literally like why
so
we're
true.
all here. Like it's the portal through which we all came. And it is literally the most powerful, life giving portal. Like you can create universes with it. And so truly, I feel like that is the first place to start. And the biggest thing connected to that is, of course, your sensory guidance system, your nervous system. And so I really love to support the nervous system or the sensory guidance system through frequency first and foremost. And I also tune in with tantric dance I now, and she is the one who really helped me reconnect to that womb space, that center, because the tantric dance is about really dancing from the womb. It's not like, dancing all pretty or whatever. It's about really dancing your deepest desires from your womb space. And so I utilize tantric dance. I also utilize Kundalini yoga. Kundalini yoga is really amazing for clearing your aura and really reconnecting with the body. Then one of my favorite newest tools that I love to recommend that is probably the most simple and easy because we all live such busy lives and sometimes it's like, oh, I don't have time for this dance or this or whatever. But truly, I found the most amazing neuroscience app where within 4 minutes, it'll bring you into theta healing zone, which
Okay.
allows your body to like fully relax into that parasympathetic state. So yeah, I can share more with you, but
Yeah,
it's
I'd love to know the app
it's the most
where
profound
what you're
tool that
talking
I've
about.
come across.
Yeah, I'd love to know. I'd love to know more about this app because I think the older we get, and I was a mother at exactly the same age as you, 35 to 36, and my son is now 22. And I found myself, I, I don't know, I don't know that I had post. However, looking back, I think I did because I went back to work when my son was 1 month old, 2 months old. Yeah,
Wow.
because I just ran.
Wow.
And I didn't realize that till probably recently. And in fact, you're probably bringing it out in me now. And I'm like, that was probably me. I ran. I'm like, oh, I've had a child. Okay, cool. Next, thanks. Okay, continue on with life. Until my son was 3.5, 4 years old, where life happened to you. And I'm like, what am I doing? People were telling me you're going to miss the best years of your son's life. I'm like, but I just had a child. It's easier to, I didn't know how to manage my boy, which was a problem because I was always in my masculine. However, I'm going to eat my words and say it was the best thing I could have ever done. Be there with my boy. The best thing ever. And I would do it over and over again. And I'm so glad my closest friends were telling me, you know what, you're going to miss the best years of your son's life. And I'm so glad that I stepped away from the crazy life that I lived to do what I was meant to do as a woman.
I love that. Well, and you know what? I think as women, we do have the capacity to do all of these different things. And we also require support. And the real truth of it is that whether women are in relationship or not in relationship, I mean, I come across so many women who they're married, but they still don't have very much support on a daily basis in terms of raising their kids, and moms are never not working. They're always working except for when they're sleeping, and even when they're sleeping, they're probably still working because their nervous system is still on alert as to whether or not a kid is awake or what's happening or a baby or,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, that's
So,
exactly what I was going to ask you because I'm like, the older we get, we're meant to be understanding our bodies more. However, because our body changes, it goes through that, what is it, 6 to 8 year cycle, especially when you've just had a baby. And then it's all that stuff that happens to your body. At night, I don't know many of my friends that are sleeping.
that's number 1. That's sleep is number 1. If you're not getting good, deep, restful REM sleep, your body isn't regenerating. You're not going to have great energy. That's why people live off of coffee and caffeine. So, yeah, my first place that I start with women is sleep. And that is all in the nervous system too, the sensory guidance system. So that's why I like that app. I think is probably honestly only discovered this app. If I had had this app when I
What's it
had
called?
other. Yeah, I'll share it with you. So if you go to clearmysignal.com, so everything that
Clear
I
my
do,
signal.
just so everyone's aware, everything I do is an affiliate connection. And that's one of my all of my other passions is to share with women. There are so many different ways to have multiple streams of income. And you
Yes.
can make yourself your own store for the things that you love. But yeah, if you go to clearmysignal.com, you actually will get 15% off monthly and 23% off annually. And there's a 30-day money back guarantee.
Okay, cool. Okay, because
Yeah.
I'd like to try it out and actually share it with a girlfriend of mine that just can't sleep.
Yeah, there's nothing I don't even know how people function without sleep. Like, I just
They're like this. My personal thing, I need 7.5 hours. That's my thing. And I'm
yeah.
not going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm just not going to function. I know me. People go, "Yeah, I'm an early riser." That's great. I'm not that person. But I don't go to bed late either. I know my hours. I need 7 to 7. Otherwise, I'm going to be grumpy, not a good human, and I'm just going to not function. So everybody needs to know their thing.
It's true, and that's part of knowing your body is, like, truly getting to know, like, what makes me feel good? Like, I feel like a lot of women I talk to don't even know what makes them feel good because they just have stopped asking themselves.
Well, I was just going to ask you, what is one truth a woman needs to hear to bring herself back?
You connect it to your pleasure is what I would say. And pleasure comes in so many different forms. Pleasure comes in like the savoring of like a piece of fruit. It comes in like the savoring of like staring at a flower. There's so much of that gets lost where we just don't savor things. And also self-pleasuring practices. I highly recommend if you're not, I mean, you can be in partnership and I would still recommend that you have your own I call it my orgasmic manifesting session. So,
I love that.
yeah, I mean, your most amazing source of power is your sexual power, and it doesn't have to be utilized with a partner, like some of your deepest desires come to life through envisioning that and through your pleasure.
How strong is our mind when it comes to that?
When it comes to pleasure,
Our mind is so strong.
oh, yeah, absolutely. And that, which is why it's so important to support your nervous system, your sensory guidance system, because that is actually what's running the show in the background, the subconscious mind and all the patterns that you keep rerunning in the background. The not enoughness, the I'll never have this, I can't do this, I won't be that. Once you start supporting your body to where it actually feels safe, that's when the patterns I've noticed start to really shift.
Yeah. So, so true. Because I think you can manifest anything in that state, just saying. And it's a thing.
All possibilities are truly available to us. I believe everything already exists. It's kind of just like, what do you want to line up with?
Yeah. I love that. So I'm going to ask you one last question. If you were to look at your 5-year-old self, what would you say to Jessica today, knowing all the stuff that you've gone through and are experiencing?
Great question. I would say just keep going. I literally would just say, "Just keep going," because if I reflect back on my life, like, there's been so many moments of intense tragedy, and then there's also been so many beautiful moments of, like, awe and wonder, and so it's just, like, moving from one frame to the next. If you just know that this frame is gonna shift into the next one, and there's always something around the corner, unexpected, that you never even thought of, that's probably better than you could have ever imagined.
I love that. There's always something around the corner that is going to be better than you ever imagined because you are the supporter of your own everything. So, Jessica, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Please make sure you go out and check out Real Mama podcast as well because it's pretty cool. And you're real and raw. And that's what I love about what you do and how you portray what you do because you come from your own experience. You're not like cookie cutter. And I love the fact that you're a woman that is building multiple streams of income. So good on you. Good on you is what I say. So keep on sharing your voice and keep on helping women get their power back because you're amazing. It really is that simple.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I so appreciate you and giving this space for women's voices as well. I think it's so important, and love to invite you onto the Real Raw Mama
Yes, I would
podcast
love to do that.
perspective. And for anyone who's looking for, so I just recently released an app. It's on embracewhoyouare.com. You can go and you can step into the Power of Showing Up app is what it's called. And it's on my website, but the power of showing up to me is what I'm all about. And it's about showing up for yourself daily with different practices and rituals. And some days it's different. But it's about finding the different tools and practices and rituals that align with you that you can choose from every single day and get little reminders to show up for yourself every day.
I love that because we do need reminders. We sometimes get into the I've got to do. Then you realize, oh my God, my to-do list is so long. I didn't really do what gives me joy. So when you don't do what gives you joy, you don't then reap the benefits of your joy thing.
So true. So true. That's why, I mean, that's my brand. Embrace who you are. Embracewhoyouare.com. In every moment, it's always about embracing you.
Jessica, have an awesome morning, awesome afternoon. Bye for now. See ya.